Like a lot of other voiceover talent, I got my start with ACX, an audiobook platform. I started there because I love stories and narratives, like I've said a lot of times, but it really is something that drives what I do, why I love doing it, what got me into it. Because I like to read and write, and even my hobbies like board games and video games are centered around narrative driven stuff. I love a good story. There's more platforms other than ACX out there, of course, but that's the one I've worked with for the most part at this time. And I just thought I'd share a few of the recent titles I've narrated and one coming soon, which I'm sure the author of that one in particular is okay with me sharing it before it's out there officially. It appeared that no one inside realized what was occurring. Only a handful of people had run out. Thaddeus raised his radio and whispered, "Send in the barricades." Like everything else that had been planned to the finest detail, Thaddeus wanted minimal numbers exiting through the main entrance. Two double-decker buses had parked along the long driveway that led to the entrance's roundabout, right where they were supposed to be. These drivers were part of the team, having driven these buses for the last 3 months up and down the strip. Their job was to crash the buses into the main entrance and impede the doors. Their engines roared, loud enough to be heard over the sirens that were now navigating through a sea of cars, having less luck than Moses trying to part the Red Sea. The tires squealed, sending small puffs of smoke onto the sidewalk where a dozen people jumped away in fright. Panicking, Theo slashed with the saber still in his hand. The being shot their hand out and caught the silvery blade in their palm. A flame roared nearby, illuminating the figure. Theo saw a man with ash-gray skin and long white hair beneath a dark cloak. He wore a black mask that covered the top half of his face, revealing only his eyes and mouth. The man knelt down next to Theo and reached into the breast of his cloak. He slowly produced a thin, smooth black wand and pressed one end forcefully underneath the prince's chin. "Here's the deal, Your Highness." The man's icy, emotionless words sent goosebumps down Theo's back. "You're going to come with me. I will bring you back to your father, and we will act like none of this ever happened." He twisted the end of the wand with the tips of his fingers. The skies outside were clear and blue from one horizon to the other. It almost seemed poor timing to ruin such a beautiful view from high on the hillside where his home nestled hidden in the trees. But this was an event centuries upon centuries in the making. It was his work, the studies of Jeremiah Colworth, that took his order's work from mere study, hypothesis, and conjecture and brought it to a grand scale. He ran his old knobbly fingers over the cover of a large tome. The barbed diamond shape engraved on the front, particularly its small dot in the center, stared back at him. This book had been his life for the past few decades. He'd already grown old when he had first found it. His intellectual pursuits were many, but none had prepared him for this journey in his life. He was a man who once believed in the gods of his people too, but he found others, the others.